You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's GCB After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's GCB After Show.
Hey guys, welcome to AfterBuzz TV. I'm Canden Bliss here with my lovely co-host, Mr. AJ Gibson.
How you doing?
And
How you doing?
we are about to talk about the GCB season finale. I can't believe it's over.
This is it.
I know, I'm kind of sad.
Right?
So Bing is for doing, guys, and once again, we're doing another GCB after show. And we got a lot to talk about.
It was a jam-packed
Lots of
hour.
revelations.
Yes. A lot of culminations, revelations, a lot of Asians.
Yes.
All came together south of the border.
South of the border. The ladies go south.
Yes.
Very far south.
Yeah.
Ronnie, can you hear me in there? I feel like my mic's a little
I feel
not working
I feel
so
a little
good.
off as well.
I hear you guys fine over here.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
I just like to hear my own voice.
I couldn't hear my own voice. I know. I didn't know what was happening.
We're not vain.
You guys, if you love our after shows, if you like us even, like us on Facebook.
Moderately.
Like us on Facebook. I was gonna say like us on Facebook, but I meant go to iTunes, rate and comment. Let us know what you like about us, and tell us why you watch. We want to know. So we appreciate all your support on iTunes, and that's how we really get out there and how we can bring this to you ad-free.
And that's how we improve, and that's how we give our viewers and listeners the show they want.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So you guys go on iTunes, and we'll really appreciate it.
Yes.
So, opening thoughts on this season finale. I mean, we don't know. We don't know for sure if GCB is going to have a season 2. We're going to talk about some maybes later on in the show. But opening thoughts. What do you think?
I don't even know where to begin.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I watched the episode a couple of times because I was so overwhelmed the first time that I had to go back and just kind of like dissect it bit by bit and decide like what just happened.
Right.
I mean, it was a lot. I almost feel like they should have done 2 hours. I wish they had, but
kind
it was
of crammed a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot for one episode, and I feel like they had to tie up a lot of loose ends and explain why the entire season they've been talking about, unincorporated Juarez, like what that had to do with the storyline. They explained it sort of, but it was a lot.
Well, they also introduced they had a lot to wrap up, and they introduced a lot of news stories.
Yes.
So I think I'll be a little perturbed if they don't have a season 2 because it's like all this can of worms has now opened, and what are they going to do?
It leaves us wanting more.
Exactly.
Which of course they had to do, but I mean it was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah. So we've talked about unincorporated Juarez and Carlene's condos for Christian living being in Juarez, and we discussed our dislike for the last scene in the last episode where Carlene just like bowed to Ripp's feet because God spoke to him. Right. And now we figure out what really spoke to him. But but the opening scene tonight was all of the girls with like guys in tuxes walking them to this desert trailer thing with bags over their head. So immediately we know they're going to get
attention, of course.
Oh yeah. Immediately we're like, oh my God, they're getting kidnapped.
Yeah, something's going down.
But I mean, they weren't even in Juarez yet, so it was a little jumbled. But I was a little surprised, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, it was interesting. I wasn't really sure where they're going to go with that. I was like, they're going there, and then they backed it up, obviously. But
9 hours earlier.
Yeah, 9 hours earlier, which I love. That's what I love about this show. Like, really, in a matter of 9 hours, like all of a sudden they go from like they're in Texas, they're like in deep
Juarez.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I plan a trip out of the country, it takes me like months to plan.
Oh yeah, they're like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's just can I borrow the plane?
Yeah. I don't think I'm using it today. Okay.
What happened to your plane? Oh my God. Well, he's using it. So
Ripp is in Denver.
Right.
Denver,
right. So we got the opening kind of foreshadowing of the whole episode, sets the tone.
Right.
We're a little bit like questioning what's going to happen. Then we cut to cricket. And a lot with cricket happened tonight.
Quickly, yeah.
Very quickly. And she wasn't really like a forefront all the time. It just like something about her story was always present. And I thought that was really interesting.
I think that's the interesting thing about Cricket's character and about her relationship with Blake is that she, like I mentioned with Marisol last week, her character can tell such a story without saying a word. Just her eyes. That's all it takes. And she has a way of pulling at your heartstrings by doing nothing.
Yep.
And there's such power in that. I think it's interesting because I think of women in power, and I think of Meryl Streep's character in Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
The Anna Wintour character.
That's definitely Cricket.
Yeah, Cricket is very much.
So Cricket.
Yeah, and what they say about Anna Wintour and that character is that when you're in power, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to be loud and bold and aggressive. You lower your voice because it pulls people in and it forces them to pay attention to you. And Cricket kind of does that, and she does it sometimes without a sound, which I find phenomenal. So their storyline is always weighing heavy on the show without a whole lot of time on screen, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah.
It says a lot to her acting abilities.
Right.
I mean, I think she's fantastic.
Well, so we have Carlene going to break ground on her condos.
Right.
We have Sharon and Zach going to like yell at their basqueteria or whatever.
Right.
I love how Sharon says basket. By the
Basket,
way,
yeah.
I love it. I want to like repeat it every time.
She's kind of adorable.
Oh yeah. But so they're in this business together. They're going down to Juarez. I guess that's where they make their baskets. Heather, which Marisol, plug to you. Thanks again for coming last week. We loved it. We miss you so much this week. It would have been so much better with you here. But we saw Heather wants to buy some kind of skin cream.
Right. Because she needs it to look young. She's the hottie on the show. Let's be honest.
Let's be real. We saw her up close. Okay, she is hot.
Not a flaw.
Not a flaw. And then Cricket says, no, I'm not going to go. But then that's when we see Cricket's like whole story unfold. And this guy came out of nowhere, Mason. And what's his last name? It starts with an M too. Mason Manning or Mason.
Yeah, something like that. Moley or not Moley. Mason Moley. Yeah,
Mason
something like that.
He came out of nowhere and is very persistent.
Yeah.
And gets a run in with Blake,
who's on his way to a pedicure.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
Like, really?
And the guy's saying that he's like, oh yeah. She's like, oh, it's his boots. You know, it just tears up his toes. He's like, yeah, it's a problem. Like, he's like, what are we doing?
I'm not mad at a good pedicure, but I mean, seriously, like the gay guy's getting a pedicure. I love it.
But I could tell that Mason knew something about Blake, that he wasn't just going to let it go. And he does not believe Cricket for 1 second.
At all.
At all.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
He's got an intuition about him. He's one of those people that can read people very well, which is probably why he's so successful at what he does.
Right.
But he's definitely got that skill, and he saw through that whole.
Well, and we find out at the end why.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right?
Well, what's his name? Booth?
Yeah.
Booth comes back to haunt him.
The old ranch hand.
The old ranch hand.
Who speaks highly of Blake.
I love the innuendo, and I don't know if I'm sure you caught it, but I don't know who else would. But when he said, he worked under you for
under you for about 3 years, I was like, not a bad place to work. I mean, Blake's good looking. Why not?
I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But what surprised me is that Pastor Tudor was invited, and that opened another can of worms. So Pastor Tudor was invited by Carlene
to bless the groundbreaking, right?
Well, to bless the appliances.
Yeah. What was
dirt.
The luge or what was it?
Something. The luge. The luge.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking the Olympics. Like what is that?
A luge. All right.
All right.
Christians love a good luge.
Right.
Apparently.
In Juarez.
Right.
There's lots of ice for luging.
Right. Unincorporated Juarez.
Which is what?
There's an incorporated Juarez and an unincorporated. Did you notice that?
Not well.
They actually showed it. Actually, when they're in the town, it was called incorporated Juarez. When they're out in the middle of nowhere, where she wants to build her illegal condos,
it's
unincorporated Juarez.
Which is why it works.
Yeah, I guess apparently.
Well, Pastor Tudor invites Amanda along, and Amanda like convinces her mother to go.
Well, initially she says no.
Right, because she's going to surprise Luke in Austin,
Yeah.
and immediately I knew that was trouble.
I mean, surprises are always trouble.
They are.
The thing about
never do it.
Never. No matter how much you trust or don't trust your partner or whatever, don't surprise them. Because if you go digging, you're always going to find something that you don't like.
Right.
And
you're gonna overblow it. And,
exactly. And by the time you let your mind go to that place, there's no turning back, whether there's an explanation or not. So I just knew that was going to be trouble.
But I was nervous the whole episode about it because I'm like, no, please don't go anywhere.
I know, right? Because I like them together.
I do too. It's going to make me super sad
if
this doesn't work out. I know I said it last week, but I really like him. And I actually watched his character. I was a fan of his character. He made an appearance on a show called Wildfire. Empire a while back. I really liked him on that show. It was
he's
about
talented.
horses.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's right at home
It's
on
not
GCB.
it's not on the air
Maybe
anymore.
he could be
sadly enough.
Blake's next ranch hand. That'd be a nice little twist. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Really?
No. Could you imagine? The two hottest guys on the show? I don't know. A little dicey.
A little too much.
We'll leave him for Amanda. Right.
Well, so Amanda says no and then convinces Gigi to go with her. And Gigi is super thrilled because she wants to go shopping.
Right.
And so Amanda brings her mommy with her to Juarez, and her mommy wants to go shopping. So fans out there, speaking of shopping and mommies, Mother's Day's coming up. So we want you to go to Amazon.com through AfterBuzz TV and buy all your Mother's Day gifts on Amazon through AfterBuzz, and we get a little prize from that. And that's another way that we can bring you all of our shows for free. And
my mom actually got me hooked on Amazon a couple of years ago.
It's amazing.
I never shopped online. I'm the type. I'm very
touch
tactile.
things, yeah.
I like to touch things and try things on.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And my mom started shopping online a few years back, and I'm hooked.
Well, like there's a lot of things. I know I mentioned my cosmetics that I like, and I like my hair stuff, things like that you don't really need to try, or at least once you find something that you like, it's really easy to be like, oh, well, it's a little bit cheaper online.
And I find that books are so much cheaper on Amazon. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. The Alchemist is a book that I absolutely live by. I love it, and I've recommended it to everyone in my family and my friends. I literally went online a couple weeks ago and ordered a bunch of them to send them to people.
Oh, that's nice.
But they're half the price on Amazon through AfterBuzz.
So there you go. Go to AfterBuzzTV.com, click on Amazon, and make all of your Mother's Day purchases, or just all of your Amazon purchases through there if you want to support AfterBuzz. So thanks, guys.
Thanks.
So getting back into GCB, the kidnapping and all that is about to happen. We're in the desert. I mean, there's just so much going on. It's like I feel like I'm recounting every detail, but there's so much I don't want to miss.
Right.
Zach is kind of like in this weird dilemma with selling the company.
I feel like Zach's a mess.
He is a mess.
Guy. I don't know how I feel about his character yet. I feel like he needs to just.
He kind of is aggravating.
Yes, completely. The way he just kind of like disrespects
Sharon
so much. I feel like he tries to manhandle her, literally, pun intended. And he really struggles with the idea of like being the, not the breadwinner of the family. Right. And now Sharon has kind of found her footing and her confidence, and I love that about her character.
Too. She's amazing.
But he's struggling with it. So I hope they find a nice blend.
Well, Sharon made it clear, and this is going to, I think, turn into an interesting plot twist. Sharon is kind of envious of Cricket.
Yep.
And is trying to emulate her with this business. And she says, I'm not, Cricket's not the only powerful businesswoman in Dallas or whatever, and with her baskets.
Right, her baskets from Basketeria.
Which I love about her. I was really glad to see her step up in her character and not be so meek.
I think that storyline really speaks to basically, like, I think it's human nature that when people find some success at something that really truly makes them happy, and like her character proves, it's not about monetary success, which I don't think monetary success makes anyone happy. It sure helps, but I think that what's so great about her character is that she's finding something that she loves, she's passionate about, and she really enjoys, and everyone can relate to that. Whether it be in business or in relationships or whatnot. I love that, and it makes her character so endearing.
And just happy. She lights up, and it makes us want to watch her more.
And I want to see her succeed.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel like, I can succeed at my dreams now.
And once again, it's a lesson. And these shows are just like, all the lessons are everywhere, and they're kind of hidden.
Right.
You just have to pick them out. And that's one of them, I think, is this whole lesson that no, I just want to find something I love to do. And it's, even though this would save our family, okay, but if I lose this, it won't save me. It'll really crush me.
Right.
And crush what I've just found that makes me happy.
And I think that obviously they sped the storyline along the last 2 weeks, but I think that she's so successful because it really makes her happy.
Yep.
And a lot of people get that mixed up. A lot of people try to go for the money first and then try to find happiness later. But every successful person will tell you, every happy successful person will tell you that just do what you love. Do the thing every single day that you cannot live without, and the money will find you. It'll get there, and she's a perfect example of that.
Well, the money's finding her. She's just not sure if
pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I'm like, dang it! I mean, that would make me happy.
Yeah, I'll make unleavened bread or what? Some
exactly.
biblical food for.
I know that kind of gives me some ideas. I'm like, maybe I should eat like Jesus.
Right? Why not?
Well, so we see later on that whole story comes to a point, and interestingly enough, I'll just go ahead and say it, Cricket owns the company that ends up buying, because we're not going to have time to discuss all this later. There's too much. We'll just get it over with now. Cricket owns the company.
No, she owns the company that owns a subsidiary.
That bought.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
I think that should make Sharon feel a little better, although at the same time, I think it kind of crushed her a little bit to see that Cricket once again kind of came out on top.
Right.
Do you agree?
Of course. Of course. She's unsure of it. And you know, when Zach made the decision to finally sell the company when she was, you know, out in the desert somewhere lost, and then she found out, it kind of broke her heart. Yeah. But then he told her, like, look, you're still going to be in charge. You're calling all the shots. This gives us the liquid assets.
She's got all the recipes and everything. I think
lose it with God how we'd like.
Right.
Or
something.
Liwig. Yeah.
Liwig. Whatever. Which is weird. I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's
I
not
like how Cricket goes, it really rolls off the tongue.
It's not like WWJD or something. You know, what would Jesus do? It's not like that.
At all.
Which I think is what they were trying to parallel, but did not work.
Fail.
So got that one out of the way. Kidnapping happens. They're in the limo. The guys have gone away. Pastor Tudor and Zach have gone. And these random guys in tuxes who we tried really hard.
Who was the driver?
We tried really hard to find out what the limo driver's deal was, and I could not figure it out.
I paused it over and over.
Me too.
I had no idea.
Because I wasn't sure, is she talking about the guy who like talks?
Yeah.
Or is it the limo driver?
Yeah, the driver or the man in the passenger seat.
Because the driver, you only saw like this much of his face.
Yeah. I couldn't figure that out either.
I couldn't figure it out at all. I don't know. I tried to think of it. Maybe it's her husband, or like maybe it's Ricky Martin or something. I don't know. I mean, was it Ricky Martin?
I think I would have known.
Okay.
I've been a big fan of Ricky Martin since the 90s.
Okay.
Since he was shaking us bonbon at the Grammy Awards back in the 90s. Whatever.
Okay. Living La Vida Loca.
Yes.
But we got some interesting information about Heather, that she doesn't speak Spanish.
At all. Which is so funny.
And the look on her face was hysterical. It was like, I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah,
like,
how dare you?
How dare you think that I just speak Spanish because I'm Latina?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
I did like that. And I like how they tried to, when they were trying to get out of the kidnapping situation, when they tried to get, Cricket told her to like work her ways on the guy.
Oh my gosh,
and then
he's gay.
He says
homosexual.
Homosexual.
And they're like, what?
And then Cher's like, oh, homosexual. I'm like, thank you.
Cricket's like, I got it. Let me do this thing, okay?
Right.
And then she like barters a crocodile bag or something, or an ostrich bag, because he already has the crocodile.
Right. He was kind of easy on the eyes though.
He was.
Maybe they should write him into the story. He could be the new ranch hand.
Well, see, I'm wondering
maybe he is the new ranch hand.
Maybe. I'm wondering if that's who we're supposed to be paying attention to, or if we just totally screwed it up. So Marisol, if you're listening, or if anybody out there knows who the limo driver was and why we were supposed to pay attention to him.
And that guy's way too good looking to be like a secondary character.
Right.
Like he has. They write him onto the show.
We missed something.
Right.
We missed something.
Totally.
How did we miss it? I even Googled it. I Googled it because I watched it like 2 times. And then I Googled it like somebody makes a cameo and the limo driver, blah, blah, blah. Nothing.
I bet if you tried binging it, you would find out. Maybe you should bing it next time.
Oh, maybe I should Bing it. Maybe I should Bing it next
All
time.
the answers you're ever looking for, Bing.com.
Go to Bing.com and search cameo in the limo driver.
Was for us.
Who is the driver?
Let us know.
Let us know. 424-256-1729 because we have no clue. Unfortunately,
no
we tried really hard.
I'm tweeting Marisol every day for the next week.
Me too, until she tweets me back. Right. Well, so as soon as Amanda and we kind of skipped one thing, Amanda and Gigi, when they first get to Juarez, they go spying, trying to find Luke, because Amanda already went to Austin, and Luke was not home, and there was some really hot neighbor in his house
with a child,
with a blue-eyed little kid. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
I thought that was going to be the story.
So did I.
And what happened with that? She didn't even mention it. She didn't mention there was a hot lady with a baby that looks like you in your house.
Right.
Like, how did you miss that?
Sidebar. I mean, that's something you bring up. And why, if the lady's just like checking his, like whatever, she was checking the house.
Why does she have a kid?
Why is she bringing the kid?
Right.
Like she's lugging this kid around on her, like, wait, like the kid was old enough. The kid could have stayed home for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm kind of thinking maybe that's going to play a part in the next season if it happens. I don't know. But they saw something pretty interesting. Ripp.
Yeah.
And some Mexicana.
Yeah.
I
love how Carlene pronounced it Mexicana.
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 Mexicana. Mexico. She's a Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, how's that going to play out?
I don't know. I mean, we find out at the end that it's not his lover.
Yeah.
But they played it the whole episode. They played it as his lover, not his daughter.
It's a little strange because there's one part where when Luke said, they know that we're here.
Yeah.
And Amanda's here or something, and he says it to Ripp, and then
they don't know about you and
but the daughter looks at him and she goes, "Well, we'll have to enjoy our last night together." I'm like, "Come on."
No, she said.
Or let's make this last night.
Let's just make this night about us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? And she like puts the phone away.
I would never say that to my mom.
No.
Mom, I love you. I would never say a line like that to you. I mean,
yeah, ditto
weird.
for my dad. I would never say
it's
that.
Strange.
It's a little weird. Just the tone of her voice too was too seductive.
Yeah.
So it was throwing me off a little bit. And I don't know if they did that on purpose to build suspense, but it was a little corny. I'll be honest, a little bit not so awesome.
Right.
Yeah. But I was kind of confused about how Carlene was gonna find out, and was Amanda gonna tell her?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that if Amanda did tell her, it was gonna be probably worse.
Right.
Which it was.
Yeah, especially with the tequila involved.
Yes. So we're kind of jumping around here. I'm sorry. There's just so much. I'm trying to go in order, but there are all like 20 things happening at once. When they get kidnapped and they're in this like weird trailer thing. Tell me the name of the actress that made a cameo.
Oh, Sandra Bernhard.
Sandra Bernhard made a cameo as somebody Horowitz. Some Indian, 1/8 Indian spirit
woman.
What a woman who wants to keep unincorporated Juarez owned by the spirit Aztecs or something. So it's competing spirit realms.
Right. She seems like a spiritual type.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I laughed a lot at that character because I know a lot of people like that who are like 1/25, of some kind of heritage, and they're like, oh yes, I'm in whatever, and they just live like they came from that, and I'm like, you have no reason to do that.
I'm German, Dutch, English, and Irish, and I have zero attachment to any of them.
Right. See, I don't even know what my heritage is. My last name is Jackson, so it's not that like weird or interesting.
Right.
So I'm probably just like British or something, which is kind of boring. But I have no attachment to my heritage at all, really, other than the fact that I'm from the South. So that's pretty much as far as I go.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people like that, and I think it's funny. And she was trying to sound like she had an accent or something, and like had her beads and weird clothing.
She was perfect for the part. And Sandra Bernhard's kind of a crazy lady, and like she played that character to the T, which I enjoyed.
I mean, I don't know what her purpose was though.
Yeah.
I mean,
she was kind of thrown in there. I feel like
she's just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah.
And I feel I was reading some like blogs and things, and some people were saying that they don't know why they would have put her in for so brief of a moment. Like she's a legit actress, and so they felt like she should have had a little bit more lengthy part or some more substantial part.
Maybe in season 2, she, if they make it there.
Maybe. Well, they said something at the end. The guys, the like FBI guys or whoever they were, that she was being caught. Like, I'm glad we found her. So I wonder if she's like a rogue.
Right.
Something.
It would be interesting to see them actually try to play that out and keep her character on the show in the future, because I mean, she's the type of actress who could really give an actress like Kristen Chenoweth a run for her money. Because they're very similar and very different at the same time, and I would like to see that play out.
Well, she was a little controlling in the scene with Carlene.
Yeah.
I mean, Carlene, of course. I'm sorry, but this was weird to me that Carlene prayed that she would be a martyr when she grows up.
Yeah, and they all knew it.
Like, that's a little strange.
That's not that strange, though, I don't think.
Really?
I think that people go, like, especially like...
Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A fireman, a doctor, a martyr?
Yeah, but if all you know as a child is religion... When I was a kid, I wanted to be a priest forever. I mean, it's not a martyr, obviously, but I wanted to be a priest until about junior high, probably. I used to spend all of my free time. I went to a Catholic school, and I used to spend all my free time at the nun's house, helping them smash cans that they would collect to raise money for the school and for the church. That's all my free time. I was a nerd, but I wanted to be a priest, and they would make me cookies.
Did you have like a picture of a priest in your locker?
No. By the time I got to lockers, by junior high, I was over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, apparently she had a picture of Joan of Arc in her locker.
Like,
Just
a
weird,
intense.
a little intense.
Yeah.
And she really played it up that like no matter what, like please, it was almost like please kill me with that knife and make me a martyr for Jesus. And I'm like, I I don't see that as being a martyr. I mean, maybe that's another one of the hypocritical moments of the show where she's being a hypocrite a little bit because you don't become a martyr because you want to become a martyr.
Right.
You become a martyr because you believe something that is something you're not willing to give up. I don't know.
Not because you choose to put yourself in harm's way and then say, well, if it's God's will.
Right.
Well, God gave you free will also, so he doesn't want you to go out and just,
No,
go
God
out
wants
that
you
way.
to stab me with that knife, please.
Just, it's kind of a silly little sidebar.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Well, anyway, once that scene was over, the desert happened, and that's where I think the biggest chunk of this episode that I enjoyed was the desert scene. All the ladies out in the desert. It's like the 40 days, 40 nights thing. All they have is a bottle of tequila, and I just thought that was the most hilarious little part because they all had their own little ticks come out.
Right.
Amanda ended up drinking alcohol, and Gigi's just like being a drunk
and I love
mama.
that her mom is the one who pressured her to drink.
Oh yeah.
Which was a little strange to me. Like if your daughter suffers through alcoholism, but then again, I don't think Gigi. She's mentioned it before. She's like, I don't understand. Can't you just have a drink with me? Well, you're no fun anymore. You don't drink. So I get that.
She doesn't understand the control issue. Maybe.
Yeah.
That she just like, what? You can't just like have a drink. You
Pick
can't
it up and
control
drop
yourself.
Exactly.
And I think Amanda's just more scared.
Right. I think the show though is at its best though when all the women are together like
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Like it is like the mud bath scene a few episodes back.
Yeah.
The barbecue scene. When they're all together, I really enjoyed the show.
Absolutely. Those are the best scenes.
Yeah.
And Carlene came out of her shell and poor thing felt. I love the shot of Amanda carrying Carlene, and she's like, "How tall was she? Was she pretty?" And blah blah blah. And Amanda's like,
and she's like, "Not that tall."
Not
she's
that
like,
tall.
Ballpark 5'8".
No.
I love that.
That was like the best because Amanda was kind of like relating to her in this weird, like they finally have something in common that their men are dishonest to them about something, and maybe it'll get better for both of them. But that was the little humanizing moment. That was the humanizing moment of this episode for me. There's always one, just like there's always a message. There's always this one little moment where you're like, they are human. And that was it for me.
Especially with Carlene's character, because she's so outrageous all the time. To actually see her have those moments where she lets go and you see why she is the way that she is, because nobody's like batshit crazy for no reason. There's a reason. Yeah. And you get to see it a little bit each episode, and this is
well, and she even came out and said it. She's like, this is why I love God so much, because
it's what I believe.
It's what I believe in, and it gets me through the day. It wakes me up in the morning.
And they're like, can't you believe in something else? Couldn't you believe,
like, no.
And that's the thing about beliefs. I mean, you can't, I used to do that with my family a lot when I was younger. I would be like, why do you believe so strongly? Why? I don't get it. But I believe in different things just as strongly. You can't fault other people for what they believe, regardless
and you
of
have
whether
to
you
believe
understand
something. You have to believe something consistently.
Absolutely.
Or there's no point in believing anything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's the reason you believe
if
something.
you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That sort of mentality. Absolutely.
Well, and it keeps you stronger. It keeps you, like she said, having a reason to do anything. You have to have something that you believe is real, that you can't really see or feel, that just kind of keeps you going.
Yeah.
Or you'll fall on your face in the desert like she did.
It could be family, it could be friends, it could be your career, but there's something that has to keep you focused. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. But on the flip side of it, she does believe in something wholeheartedly, and she struggles with that just as much. Yeah,
and her life is not perfect. I mean, at the beginning of the show, all these ladies look like they kind of have it all together, and they're
train wrecks.
They're all the same. They're all train wrecks, just like all of us are train wrecks. And they all have the same issues in different ways, and that's why this story is so relatable all over the world. Because if you have a family, you're going to relate to something in this show.
Yeah.
If you have a husband or wife, you're going to relate to something. If you have bitchy girlfriends, you're going to relate to something.
Yeah.
If you have boyfriends that you don't trust, you're going to relate to it. I mean, there's just so many levels to the show. So I love it. And there's just even more to talk about.
I love it as well.
So then Cricket and Sharon have this old discourse in the desert, and that's where we find out that they're feuding about that skin cream. Sharon had an idea to franchise it, and Cricket was like, no.
Cricket tried to one-up her.
But then she tried to one-up her,
Yeah.
Do you think they'll end up going in on it together?
No.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that Cricket is pretty ruthless. And I think that what we're going to see is that Sharon probably is too. And she's been on this journey this entire season. She's really starting to find herself and to find her footing. And I really enjoy that. And I think that she won't back down just based on principle alone. I don't think it would make sense for them to work together. We saw what happened when Cricket tried to work with Amanda. Amanda went into it with honest intentions, and Cricket just undercut her at every chance she had.
But will that break up Cricket and Sharon's friendship if they all kind of are really at war? I mean, they're always kind of at war with each other, but I feel like in business, that's pretty legit war, right?
Yeah, I think though, but I think that it will create different dynamics with the women. Because I think, those early episodes, Amanda was the outcast completely. And she's not so much anymore all the time. Somebody else is. It always changes each episode. And I could see somebody like, Sharon and Amanda becoming closer, or Sharon and Heather becoming closer because of this. And Cricket kind of going, doing her own thing. Cricket can kind of stand alone.
Yeah,
I don't think she really needs friends that badly.
Well, when she has her new BFF, or BF, not BFF, BF, she will not really need anything else.
At all. He's aggressive.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, not as cute as Blake, though.
No way. Well, Blake's gay. Gay men are just, on average, at least 12 to 13% cuter than straight men. I think it's a scientific study I read somewhere.
You all. I hate you all.
Oh, thank you.
Every time I see a hot guy, I'm like, whatever. He's probably gay.
Trust me, I say the same thing. Straight. It happens.
Nah.
It happens.
But yours are cuter.
No.
You got better odds.
They're really not. No, the one or two that you see on a television show or in a film, they're always the hot gay guys. But
well, I think I'd pick Blake over, what's his name, Mason.
Yeah,
but
in a heartbeat.
So I want to talk about Pastor Tudor a little bit, because I think he's going to become a huge character.
Absolutely, I hope so.
I kind of hope so. I kind of am on the fence about it. We found out a lot about him this episode. This is a character that we've been following, that we've kind of liked, and like, oh, he's cute, but like, what? Why is he here? And like, what's his purpose? And obviously, last week you saw the previews of them kissing, Amanda and Pastor Tudor kissing, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
Right.
But we learned that Pastor Tudor was in the army. Because we saw him doing his little survival tracking in the desert, and Zach's like, I didn't know you did that. Who knew? Yeah. And we find out why, that he was in the army, and kind of was what was the story? He was like out in the he was a rescuer. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He rescued people.
And that's how he decided to go into become a pastor. He really enjoys helping people and rescuing people, and he figured after the military, what better way to do it than by going into church life, basically.
So he rescues the ladies.
Yes.
But is rescue the reason that he and Amanda kiss? Is he rescuing her, or is he into her? I feel like there's a difference, right?
Because I think a lot of times people confuse that.
Yeah.
I have a history of doing that. I've always been the type that always wants to rescue people.
Because you care about that other person.
Exactly.
You want to see them.
And you want to make them happy so much that you don't think about yourself in the moment. And it could have been an example of that. Or he's been working with her now for a few weeks at the church, and maybe he looks at her a little bit differently.
Well, he did make a comment.
Because he didn't try to rescue Sharon. When Sharon was struggling in her marriage, he kept pushing her away when she was working for him. But now Amanda's struggling with men, and he didn't push her away.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, he did make a comment that about Amanda. Like, oh, Amanda's with them. If I hadn't begged her to go, she wouldn't be here. And he like has this look on his face, like I don't want her to anything to happen to her, like until I tell her how I feel, or something like that.
Right.
And I felt that weird little something in him that was conflicting. So I don't know. I'm curious, because I feel like he's just rescuing her.
Right. Maybe. But then at the same time, though, it's tricky, because sometimes if you are the rescuing type, like I feel like I tend to be, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes, people need a little bit of rescuing, and in the process, you find that you're also being rescued. So
but who's going to get hurt in the process?
Yeah, exactly. I think that it'd be an interesting story to play out. I mean, Amanda having the choice of this pastor and then bad boy Luke. Like, where do you go? Like Luke's been with every girl in Dallas, and then and that's interesting to me. I'd like to see it.
Well, I think we will. If season 2 comes up, it's inevitable that we're going to see this love triangle, because Luke professes that he loves her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really respond well.
Yeah. And how does a pastor like fight for a woman? I like to see it. I've never seen like I said, I grew up Catholic, so like I've never seen like my priests, they weren't allowed to be in relationships.
Right.
So I've never really seen like what like a holy person in the church, how would you pursue someone?
Well, he took a swig of vodka and kissed her at a bar. So.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? I love that.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird, but humanizing. I keep
Very
saying
much
this
so.
word.
Yeah.
It just made me like him, and it made me want to discover more about his character and like, okay, what, like you said, what do you do? You know, how will you act in this situation? And maybe that's an example of how you will view other people in, you know, the clergy. Do you call it the clergy?
Yeah, I guess.
Ish.
Yeah, sure.
It sounds kind of stiff, but
the churchgoers,
the church world,
community. Yeah,
church
I don't
community.
know. Yeah.
Because I think that, again, there's churches in every community. There's
Mm-hmm.
religion in every community. I mean, there's something where you have this head of this group that you think is kind of above you or
Mm-hmm. Right.
above everyone else, and
Right.
hold them to a higher standard. But they're human too.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe if you're talking about the Pope, that's different. But
right. But he also represents like religion is evolving so quickly in our
Right.
country right now. And when I was a child, when I was really young, all of our masses were done in Latin still. When I was really little,
wow.
and I mean the priest didn't even look at the congregation. A congregation, that's what they are. They're a congregation.
Congregation.
He didn't even look at us. We didn't even know what he was saying. That's when I was really young. And by the time, you know, I was older, that obviously all had changed. And now, I think Pastor Tudor represents what churches are becoming, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, they can be open-hearted and compassionate towards different types of people. I don't think it's really a big secret to him that Blake's gay, and I don't think he really cares.
Right.
And I don't
No,
think
he
that if
doesn't
Blake
care.
did come out to him, I don't think he would care.
But that's an interesting thing to play. I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't know if they're going to pick up on.
Right.
I mean, that's huge.
Yes.
If Blake is discovered, and you know, obviously we find out at the end that Mason knows that Blake is gay, and I mean, maybe Pastor Tudor knows, maybe the whole community knows, but is it going to really come to the surface, and is it going to be something that they deal with?
What denomination are they? Have they ever now?
They're Baptist. I think they're Baptist.
Are they? I just assumed. I mean, it's South, but I didn't know.
I think it's Baptist-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably don't say.
Yeah.
What is it? Hillside Park Memorial Church or something?
Yeah. I know the Baptist Church generally doesn't take too kindly to homosexuality, but
Right, they don't.
But certain churches, I mean, you can't. Every church is different.
Yeah.
I happen to go to a Catholic school where I never heard a negative thing about homosexuals my entire life. I had a great experience with the Catholic Church I grew up in.
Interesting.
Other Catholics I know were just scorned for life because of it. So you never know.
I'm curious to know about that.
God, I hope there's a season
There's a
two.
lot. I know. It's like every little thing. We're like, well, when we find
Yeah.
out, we gotta watch season 2.
And we're reading into it again. Like Marisol said, it's not that deep, you guys.
not that
We're
deep.
like, well, I wonder.
She's not smiling in that scene. What's going on?
Too funny.
So Luke, what do you think's gonna happen with Luke?
I don't know. I don't know if. Well, now I'm nervous because Marisol said that he's on another show on a different network next
I know.
season.
So maybe he's gonna get kicked off, and it's just gonna be Pastor Tudor and Amanda.
Yeah. But I like Amanda's chemistry with him. I really do.
With
I
Pastor
think
Tudor or
no,
Luke?
No, with Luke.
Okay, yeah.
With Luke. I hope he comes back.
Why do you think she turned him away?
I think that I related to that actually a lot because I feel like she's learned the lesson. Her ex-husband taught her a really hard lesson, and sometimes it takes something really. It takes, I think, that person that you really, really care about or think you could really, really care about to really kind of scorn you to teach you a lesson. And I think we've all kind of been there at different points in our lives. And later on, great guys or great women or whoever it is that, you know, you're going to date later, they kind of pay the price, you know, and I've been guilty of that, you know, blaming people for something that was done to me in the past. And I think that's kind of what Amanda's character is doing to Luke, unfortunately, because it seems like Luke probably really has changed and he really genuinely likes her.
That's what's so heartbreaking is I think he didn't think he knew he was doing something that was kind of probably not going to turn out so good, but that, well, I'm not doing anything bad, so I'll be able to make up for it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was that mentality of it's okay to lie this time because it's not that bad,
like
and
it's
I'll
easier
make
to
up
ask
for
for
it.
forgiveness than it is to ask for permission, and that didn't really work.
But
for him.
she said, "I'm scared because you did it so effortlessly," and that's true.
That's exactly
I mean, he
how I
didn't
would
labor.
think.
He didn't labor over it at all. It was just like, you know, I got to go do this. I'll just tell her this for now, so I don't have to deal with it, and then I'll make up for it. You know, maybe he didn't think he was get caught.
Yeah,
that's another question.
Right.
Would he have told her the truth?
Yeah.
If he didn't get caught. Or would they have lived forever and her not know?
Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. I got this great advice years ago, and I've tried to live by it. Don't go digging if you don't want to find something.
Right.
Like, because you're going to find something.
You're going to
Your
find
partner
something.
is always doing something that will make you uncomfortable you don't need to know everything about your partner. And in this day and age,
Scary.
that's hard. It's so easy
hard
with cell
like
phones and Facebook and everything else.
yeah.
Absolutely. And Twitter, like, it's so easy to follow people.
It's like, oh, I clicked on his computer. Oh, should I look a little bit?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Don't look up those emails.
You'll lose your mind.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen with this love triangle, but we're going to go to commercial real quick. And when we come back, we're going to talk about, is there going to be a season 2?
Fingers crossed.
AfterBuzz TV.
Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And, like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
Hey guys, we are back, and I'm looking up a little bit of news. I was following Marisol on Twitter and seeing what she was talking about, and there was a little congrats ABC. So ABC was ranked #1 on Sunday for like the whole network, I guess. Fantastic. All of their shows.
Nice.
So congrats to ABC. Woohoo. Plug there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
TV news.
Okay, so ABC is ranked #1 for Sunday's shows, and it's what the big question has been: is GCB going to be renewed for a second season? And of course, now my phone's acting up. But basically, this website is saying TV by the numbers is saying like it has a pretty good chance of being renewed. The numbers have skyrocketed each week, and
Finally.
I think last week or yesterday, the finale drew in the most viewers than any of the other episodes.
And it was up 20% from the week before, I think. So their numbers are going in the right direction.
Numbers are going in the right direction. I think people want to know what's happening with this show. It's just, and this is just maybe a note to the writers or somebody. It's a little fast,
right?
And that's my only criticism is that I'm not connecting with the stories because they're kind of in and out.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the nature of the show, but there's just like tonight, or yesterday, it should have been a little longer for me.
Right.
They're cramming a lot into these shows, into these episodes. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, there's a way to do this type of show, I think, at that pace and still make it enjoyable. Like you look at shows like Grey's Anatomy, it was just so successful right out the gate because it's so fast paced. But they make you fall in love with all the characters. Now, this show's obviously different. It's a little campier, which can be fun, but there's a fine line between campy and just crap television. And every now and then, they cross over into that kind of crappy territory a little bit. I love the show. I just wish they would give us a little bit more character. Because my favorite moments are never like the ridiculous moments. It's usually those heartfelt moments where they tug at the heartstrings and
where they really pull you in and make you feel like this is a show that you can relate to.
Yes.
And the funny moments are great, and they're not few and far between. I mean, they're all in there.
Yeah.
And I laugh.
You
I
can't
laugh
fill
out
an hour
loud.
though with just like potty humor.
Right.
Doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Audiences are too smart.
And I think they've opened up a lot of stories, especially last night, that really need to come full circle. I mean, there's still the baby making thing, and there's just like a lot that's kind of just gotten tossed to the side.
And who is this ranch hand?
I know.
That's getting broken in.
I know, right? Where is he? Where's the other hot guy? He's got to be somewhere. He's got to show up sometime, right?
Right.
So there's a lot that we hope to see in the next season of GCB if it is so fortunate to be renewed, and I hope that it is.
Fingers crossed.
You guys, let us know what you think. You can find me on Twitter at Canden Bliss.
I'm at _AJ Gibson.
_AJ Gibson.
Yes.
And you can tweet our friend Marisol Nichols. Follow her on Twitter. I'll give her a little plug because I just loved having her here so much last week. And again, let us know. Tweet us at AfterBuzz TV or something. Let us know if you know what the limo driver thing is. I'm hoping that she's going to tweet me back.
Yeah, tweet us. I will respond to you.
Because I'm a little confused.
Yeah, me too. Is it Ricky Martin?
I don't know.
We're going to start a rumor now.
We'll see. Might have been Ricky Martin, but I don't know. But thank you so much. We really appreciate appreciate all your support this season of GCB.
Yeah.
It's been great to be your host for
thanks
GCB,
for having
and it's
me.
been great having you.
Thanks for letting me jump on the end of the
Jump
season
in,
with
no
you.
problem.
Yeah, I had a
It's been
blast.
fun. So thank you to all of our guests, all of our callers, and we will see you for season 2 of GCB. Cross your
Fingers
fingers.
crossed. Take care, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz y'all later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.